What up? Welcome back, sports fans. It's Chris Madrigal. This is the Magic Hour podcast. Thank you for joining me again this week. Apologies for the schedule change from last week. I know you're used to having one drop on Thursday nights, but that is going to change a little bit. But first, this episode. So, I figured since not all, but a bunch of major sports are restarting this week, I would do a special episode devoted to that. Major League Baseball started this week. We have the NBA starting this coming week on the 30th. We have major PGA golf season coming up, April 5th. The PGA Championship. We have UEFA Champions League coming up just in a couple weeks. And yeah, that's it. So I wanted to do a little bit of preview for all of them. So I brought on a large collection of my Magic Hour regulars to talk about 3 things that we should look for with the restart of each of these leagues. So 3 things to look for with the NBA. I brought on Xavier Gomez to talk with me about that. I was going to bring on Jackson Schlater, but he was busy, so he instead gave me what his 3 things would be, and we talk about them, me and Xavier. And then Bobby Brabson comes on. Good old Bobby from the East Coast, from Philly. Is going to talk with me about major golf season and what we can expect. We only get 3 majors this season, unfortunately. We get the PGA Championship, and then we get the U.S. Open and then the Masters. Unfortunately, the Open Championship has been canceled this year due to foreign travel logistics because of COVID, which is completely understandable. But yeah, we're going to get into that and what we should look for. And then Edriss Soleyman comes on, and a new guest to the podcast, Jose Chaires-Gonzalez, comes to talk about what we can look for with the UEFA Champions League and them restarting and picking back up with the round of 16 and going into the quarterfinals. And that's going to be a really fun one. Definitely listen to that part. And then, of course, with MLB, Julio Reynoso comes on, and me and him talk about the 3 things we should look for. Non-A's, though. We try to keep it not A's so that we don't seem biased. Just the 3 things that we should look for with the rest of the league. So this is going to be, I think you guys will enjoy it. Do have a couple announcements. One of them will come at the later end of the podcast with Julio because it involves him and a creative endeavor that me and him are doing together. So stay tuned for that. And the other is that this podcast I will be moving to launching on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. Main reason is because the creative endeavor that I'm doing with Julio is going to be released on Thursdays now, which I think you guys can probably guess what it is. It's already out, actually. So you'll probably figure it out. So it's just better for me to move this podcast. So this will be coming out on Tuesdays now. Tuesday nights, Magic Hour will be launched. So please subscribe to this podcast, and I hope you enjoy it. And hopefully Tuesday nights work better for you, because they work better for me. All right, so let's jump into it. So first off, we're going to start with Xavier in the NBA, and then we'll move on to Bobby with the PGA. Then we'll move on to Edriss and Jose with UEFA Champions League, and then Julio and MLB will finish it off. So here's me and Xavier. All right, so we're going to start with the NBA first, because that is the most popular in the media right now, and because we love the NBA. So I've brought back the fun crew. By popular demand, we got Xavier Gomez is back. What's up, Xavier?
What's going on?
And we got Jackson Schlater. Oh, wait. No, Jackson's not joining us today. It's just me and Xavier. But we asked Jackson.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
We asked Jackson for his 3 things to look for, so we're going to give those at the end of the segment, and me and Xavier will talk about them. So, yeah. How do you feel, Xavier? Do you feel confident about your 3 things?
Yeah, I feel super confident.
Are you excited that sports are coming back?
I'm so excited that sports are coming back. Yeah, I mean, just more things to watch while I'm sitting at home. So, yeah. Before, all I had was UFC, and I would just see people get pounded in the face while I was also home alone.
Xavier, what would you say that your UFC fandom, scale of 1 to 10, that it's gone from during this COVID? Like what was it? What was it before COVID started?
So my UFC fandom always had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
I took a couple years off. And then but at one point I was a huge McGregor fan.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere. I think at one point I was really a big fan of Rampage Jackson.
Back in 2007.
Yeah, and then I kind of fell off after Ronda Rousey fell off because she was my favorite UFC fighter.
Yeah. But you would say a 6, right? You knew the big names, but nothing crazy, right?
Now I'm all about it.
Now you're a 9.
I'm totally bought in.
You know all the pre-fight fighters and shit.
The other day I contemplated getting an Amanda Nunes jersey, but she doesn't have a jersey, so I didn't get it.
I don't think anyone.
I'm a big fan.
You're just gonna get a Reebok shirt and just hope that people will get.
If she made
a
fake jersey, it just said Nunes on the front, on the back, and there was just an obscure number. I would think about it. I'd be like, oh.
All right, cool. I mean, we've watched UFC a couple times over Zoom together, which I mean, I liked UFC before too, but I'm definitely a bigger fan now. All right, so. Here, you know the deal. Everybody else knows the deal because I've already explained it to you in the beginning of the podcast. 3 things to look for with the NBA restart, with sports in general, but the NBA restart. We'll go back and forth, Xavier. So you'll give one, I'll give one, you give one, I'll give one, and then we'll talk about it. So since you're the guest, you can go first. What's your first one?
Okay. I'm going to double down and say I want my Nets.
Oh my God!
Too upset. You know what? I'm just.
Dude, I knew this. I knew you were gonna come in hot with the Nets again. I knew you were gonna die on this hill.
A lot of teams were oh, it's the Nets, whatever, and they don't play their stars. They don't care, whatever. The Nets are gonna surprise somebody. Okay?
Who? But here's the thing: the same thing that me and Jackson were pitching to you last time. Who are they gonna upset? It's either going to be the Raptors or it's going to be the Bucks. They have to upset someone in the first round because likely they're going to be either the 8th or 7th seed. They're not.
Could be the Bucks.
They're not holding on to that 6th seed. They're definitely not. It's going to be the Bucks. You really think
they
so?
Have the 7th seed? They definitely don't have the 6th seed.
So who's?
They're probably going to drop down to the 8th seed.
Who's the star of their team right now? Who's going to get all the minutes? Who's going to score all the buckets? Someone's got to average 25.
Allen. That man is working so hard down low. He's getting 20 rebounds a game.
Dude, he's gonna be
at what cost,
He's gonna be gassed by the end of this NBA season because he's gonna have to work so hard for that 25 points and 11 rebounds. They
just gotta make it into the playoffs, they just gotta grind it out there, and then it's a whole new ball game. You gotta win a series. They're gonna do it. You're going to make it out of the first round.
Is this more stubbornness by you, or is this you legitimately think this?
I'm banking on the fact that it all just gets shut down and then I'm never proven wrong. No, kidding. Nah, just I feel like anything can happen in the bubble, and the only alternative was rooting for the Magic to do something crazy, and nobody wants to do that. So let's go Brooklyn.
You just like rooting for the underdog, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so my first one is this is gonna piss off every Laker fan, but this is the way I feel. I think the Lakers are gonna have trouble averaging scoring more than 100 points a game. I really do. So their entire guard situation is completely fucked. Right now, so Avery Bradley opted out. Right now they replaced him with J.R. Smith. LeBron's been playing point guard for them. They don't shoot very well, except for Danny Green. I just think they're gonna have a hard time scoring offense. Yes, they can really wow, compete with a team in the paint, and they can play really good defense, and they have the size, and they have the strength, and they have the speed to do
You're
it.
forgetting one thing though.
What?
Anthony Davis.
But Anthony Davis doesn't shoot threes, so if they're down by 15 in the beginning of the fourth
When
quarter,
no one could guard you underneath the basket.
but if you're down by 15 in the beginning of the fourth quarter, this is going to be something worrisome. If they're playing Portland in the first round, some of like the top 3 best backcourt in the NBA who can shoot, who can also bang with them down the paint because they have the size and they have the strength with Hassan Whiteside, Yusuf Nurkic, and now Zach Collins back. Like, I would be worried. Someone who has length down there and who can go up against those guys. I just really think that in a close game, it's going to be tough for them.
I think LeBron's taken far worse teams to the finals.
That's a good point.
I mean, with different sets, he was in the Eastern Conference, and the Warriors weren't the Warriors just yet. I think but I see what you mean. They don't really have the depth on the bench, but I think they have a lot of things in their favor with the short season, the good seeding, and they got a lot of veterans on the team. Dwight Howard, man. He could have a breakout playoffs.
I agree with you. LeBron has done better with less, but he's also played in the East back then, so it was a little bit different story as opposed to the West. Here are the guards.
How old is LeBron?
Here are the guards they have. He's 30.
37?
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
34.
35. So here are the guards that they have. Contavious Caldwell-Pope is going to be starting at shooting guard because they have no one else. Danny Green, they moved to small forward as opposed to shooting guard. Quinn Cook, Rajon Rondo, who's day-to-day, Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith, and Alex Caruso, who just got in trouble for COVID. So he went to his sister's wedding. Whatever, like, you can leave for a little bit. It's not a big deal. But his sister's wedding had 100 people at it, and the NBA found out about that, and now they're putting him in like a 10-day quarantine just to be safe, so he could miss the first couple games. Yeah, granted, he's going to be back for the playoffs. They're in a good spot because they're number 1 in the West.
They could lose every single game in the regular season and still be the number 1 seed.
But still, dude, you got 3 washed-up guys.
That's not true, but close.
At the guard position. 4. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, I would say, is washed up. So you're relying heavily on Alex Caruso and Quinn Cook to really step up. And LeBron James is a starting point guard on their depth chart
I think you could count out Rondo until later. Avery Bradley's gone for sure. Yeah. LeBron at point guard is crazy. I feel like we're not talking about that enough. That's crazy.
Yeah. He's made it work all season.
Oh, he's a really good point guard.
Yeah.
I know, but just like that's how he's gonna ride in with this team, like running the point. I love it for the Lakers. Like, it's just pretty cool.
I will say that, but they will if they can keep a team from if they can force them to play good defense, force the other team to take tough shots, and really stay on top of their field goal percentage throughout the game, they'll do well because they have a lot of size. Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee. Dwight Howard, Markieff Morris, Kyle Kuzma, like they have Jared Dudley, like they look good. They look good in the front court, but it's the back court that I'm worried about, and I think people aren't looking at much.
I agree. When you have 2 polarizing players on the court, like LeBron and AD, all the little guys should be getting fed more and should be getting like way more buckets.
Yeah.
But if they just don't have the talent to really capitalize on those opportunities, it's like, what's the point? Like, of like getting a double team on AD if Quinn Cook can't put the layup up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And like, if I'm let me look at this. If I'm say Denver, a lot of size, a lot of strength down there. With Jokic and Millsap, or if I'm Dallas. Teams that like play pretty good front court defense, like you kind of know they're pretty like one-dimensional offensive team, so it's just easier to defend. If they can't shoot their way out of it, I would be a little bit concerned if I were them.
True, but like, what's LeBron's mo been? Sometimes, some of these years in the playoffs, he just forces it, just goes to the hole, just makes it happen.
And just throws
And I
his
feel like
body
we're
on it.
not, yeah, we're kind of counting out like they could just get real aggressive and just body up the other team and really go out, attack the rim. And they could do that, and you could stop LeBron, but then you got AD right next to him. I mean, that they could just will their way to a championship. And that's why I think the Clippers are like the only real scary part of it because they are so good defensively. But at the end of the day, the Clippers could get postered. They could get a lot of posters on them by those two dudes running down the court.
Yeah. That's a good point. They do have two of the top 5 NBA players in the league, so they'll find a way.
Yeah, they're gonna punch somebody in the mouth. It's gonna be great.
All right, Xavier, you're number 2.
My number 2 thing is something that like I feel like it's gonna be overlooked. The referees.
Oh, interesting.
So there's only 45 referees who are allowed to be in the bubble, and then when the playoffs come, it's gonna get slimmed down to 36.
Okay.
But you only have 2, maybe 3 referees per game, right? I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and there's gonna be no audience, so the referees are gonna want to hear everything that's gonna be said. And I feel like as the season goes on, like these guys, people are gonna get more and more personal with each other. See them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're all like in this bubble together. You hear everything they're saying. There's gonna be relationships built, and I wonder if that's gonna affect the games and how they get played.
They're also not going to be manipulated by the crowd at all because there is no crowd.
This is true. And I feel like the refs say like, oh, if you can't handle the crowd, but it's definitely a factor. Come on.
But it's one of those things where there's so many times in a game where like you call about bad foul, and as a ref you got to stick to it because for some reason that's how refs are. They can't like have any wiggle room because if you show any wiggle room at all, the player's going to jump on that. And then it's almost always every single time. Next time there's a controversial call, they give it to the other team. So it's like an IOU. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna necessarily see that because maybe the refs won't see it that way this time.
Yeah, different parts of the equation taken out. But at the same time, if it's just the ref and some dude on the court, and he's like, "Hey, bro, it's just me and you here. Like, call it fair. You're wrong." They could have some real good discussions in there. I don't know. I think a lot of stuff is gonna get said that is usually like not heard.
Yeah.
When these guys are playing ball, but the refs are gonna pick it up. So is that gonna make more ejections, technicals getting called, or are the refs gonna like be cooler with that because they can hear more now?
You think they're just not gonna put up with it?
Maybe they could have a zero tolerance, or they could be like, we understand like the sounds of the game or whatever. Some guy's gonna yell "fuck" when he gets a rebound just cause that's what he does. Like it's not directed at anybody, but now you can hear it because there's not thousands of fans screaming.
The only thing is, I think a big part of that is a big part of the way the referees call games is the way the NBA and the front office and Adam Silver tells the refs to call a game. So I don't know what his MO is going to be going into this NBA restart. Like, does he have a motive for? And you know what? This is very conspiracy theory-esque, but like I feel like the evidence is like too overwhelming to not have a stance on conspiracy theories like this. That the refs are told something from the NBA front office and they do that. So like, let's say the NBA really wants Zion to be in the playoffs. Is he gonna get a lot of calls in his first 8 games before the season ends? And Ja's gonna get like not that many. Like I don't know. Like it's definitely something to consider. And I don't want to like accuse the NBA of anything, but there is something to be thought about there and something to be talked about.
And I wonder, what if Corona gets to these refs? You know what I'm saying? A lot of the refs are older.
Yeah.
One of them gets it. Then you can't ref anymore, or at least 2 weeks. What if too many of them gets it? What if there's not enough refs?
Not enough refs. Interesting. But there's 45 refs going down there.
I know, but only 36.
If anything, you make them work overtime and then make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's probably it. Is that gonna change?
No, I really like that. I just want to say I didn't expect that one from you, Xavier, and I really like that one. That's an interesting thing to think about, to look for, like how the refs are gonna call this new kind of game that we're playing in, the new world that we're playing in.
Like, what if a
It's
ref
definitely
calls
something
like a
I'm going to
bullshit
look for
foul?
now.
If a ref calls like a bullshit foul on like a player, and then that player sees them in the bubble later on, like in the hallways or whatever, and it's
And
like,
tries
hey,
to fuck him up.
hey, fuck you, bro. Oh, we're in this bubble a long time, man. You want to rethink about that call? Like I could see that happening.
All right, so my second one is who do you think would be the one to do that?
I don't know.
No, I kind of want to see you take down.
Montrezl Harrell, no.
I don't know, man.
No.
I think Joel Embiid. No, Joel Embiid's kind of a
can see
pussy.
that.
I feel like he'd just cry about it. Who's
Pat Bev.
who's like a badass? Oh, the Morris twins. They corner him down in the ice room, getting ice for his room.
They get called for traveling, and then they see him, they just stop walking.
Yo, what's
like,
up
not
with
traveling,
that?
ref.
What do you mean?
Leave me alone, ref.
Seems like you've been kind of calling bullshit fouls on the LA teams. Like, oh shit.
That'd be kind of funny.
And just like, I don't know why, but I'm picturing those two like doing like a. What do they call that? Where you put your head in the toilet and flush it?
A swirly.
A swirly.
To the referee.
Yeah, dude.
Next time, call it a clean game. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be pretty funny.
All right, so my second one is So I
You're
think
lying if you're not thinking this is gonna happen. This could happen in the bubble. This is gonna happen.
we don't
All
know
right?
what goes on in the bubble, man. We
It
don't
really
know.
is.
The media is on a completely different side of the campus, so we have no idea.
Yeah.
They could be just having like a massive orgy on the other side, and we have no
Yeah,
idea about it.
If that or like I could see like large poker tournaments.
Oh, for
you know?
sure.
Who knows? Someone's selling something underground on the black market in the bubble. I'm gonna tell you that for sure.
Oh yeah. What do you think like the major black market item is that they're selling? If it is like who do you like? It's almost like prison. Like they
But, like, what is banned? You know, it's gotta be like. Honestly, it might be women.
I don't think
Like,
I don't know, man.
It's like, hey, we don't want you guys going out and leaving the bubble, so we have like some like COVID safe dates that you guys could go on. You know? I could see that happening.
I could also see like I don't know. Like do you think they have alcohol there? I could also see like
100% for sure.
I could also. Do you think so? I feel like they
Yeah.
don't. I could totally see like them what's the word I'm looking for? Sneaking
They're
in
all
like.
drinking like Bush Light when they go fishing.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
That'd be funny.
But for some reason, I'm picturing like the prison setup where they smuggle something in like a cake and like send it in there like the Longest Yard when he got the cleats and they're like Chris Rock opened
He
like
takes it out,
just
he's like,
puts his hand through the cake and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? He just like takes out the cleats.
It's like a Game Boy Advance or something ridiculous.
All right, so my number 2 is I think the Thunder are gonna make a run. I really like them, and I like the matchups that they have, and I think just that the way they play is really really like kind of playoff friendly. I think they're just gonna run on teams because they have the speed, they have the athleticism, they have the
Chris Paul.
the basketball intelligence with Chris Paul. And I love the backcourt that they kind of put together, like the small lineup with like Chris Paul, Shea, Dennis Schroeder, and then Danilo Gallinari
Schroeder.
and
That's
fucking
right, Schroeder.
Steven Adams just like grounding the defense on the end. I really think that they're gonna just shit all over Houston in the first round.
No, they got Utah first round.
No, they aren't they they're the 6th seed, right?
Houston's 6th seed. Oklahoma is the 5th seed. Utah is the 4th seed.
Oh, you're right. But do you think Utah
I also
holds
think
on to that
I think they're
spot?
gonna shit onto Utah. I think Oklahoma is gonna beat them up
Yeah.
in the first round.
Yeah.
I think in the Western Conference, I think everybody's gonna keep their seeding,
Yeah.
except for like the 7 and 8, of course.
I think that
Well,
the
yeah,
Mavericks
6 and
could
up,
move
they're
up. There is
spread.
potential for that. Also, we don't know when Westbrook's going to join the team.
It's true.
But yeah, I just really like their team, and I really like the way they play, and they're kind of
do
like a
too.
run TMC type of team. They really just like move and they play good defense, and I just want the listeners to look out for them. I really think that they're going to make a move, and I could potentially see them in the Western Conference Finals. I really do. It just something about the way they play and the matchups that they have going forward. If the seeding stays as it is, they could be interesting to watch, and they could be playing the Lakers or the Clippers in the conference finals.
How well is Chris Paul doing? Let me see. Do you think he's having like MVP kind of season?
He's having a good season. So he's 17. He's 17, 4, and 6. So 17 points
terrible.
a game, 4.9, so 5 rebounds a game, and 6.8, so 7 assists a game. That's a pretty fucking good for someone who is
What's crazy
almost
is that
40, 35 years old.
Well, we all thought it was the stacked. I mean, it's true. The stacked West. Chris Paul has a pretty ragtag team here, and he's gotten to the 5th seed in the West.
So here's the thing, though.
Which is pretty impressive.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a great season last year, but this year he's even fucking better. 19.3 points a game, 6.1 rebounds as a fucking shooting guard, and 3.3 assists. On top of that, let's look at Gallinari. I know.
Oh, they do have Nerlens Noel also.
They do, but I thought he was hurt, right? Danilo Gallinari, 19.2 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. That's from a power forward.
Lugwentz. Yeah, Lugwentz Dork, that like foreign dude.
And I think Roberson's not playing. I think
Roberson is
opted out, right? Yeah.
But they got what's his name? Steven Adams still.
Yeah.
Who's a playoff vet. He deserves his credit. He's held his own.
Steven Adams, 10 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.1 blocks.
Them losing Andre Roberson does.
It hurts, man. It hurts their backcourt or their front court a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great
But the thing is,
addition to have off the bench, especially in the power forward position.
The thing is, Xavier, they play small. They play with that 3-guard lineup with Chris Paul, Shai, and Dennis Schroeder. And
Dennis Schroeder is good too.
Yeah, dude.
I really like how he plays. He's fast.
Yeah. And all this means is that Gallinari is going to play more minutes, and with such a long layoff, he can handle that easily. And you could also mix in Nerlens Noel at the power forward and just play like really tall and really big.
Yeah, I like Nerlens.
Yeah, they can make it work. They have the pieces. That's the thing about OKC that I really love. All their guys are so multi-dimensional. They can play in multiple positions. They can do kind of a little bit of everything.
What's cool is that Chris Paul is such a great facilitator that he's making this work. Do you think there's an argument there for MVP since he's willing together this team basically? He's like the piece that puts them all together.
No, he's missed a few games, and I just don't think that he has the numbers to support it quite as much as. No one's beating Giannis. If anyone thinks that Giannis shouldn't get the MVP, then they just haven't been watching basketball this season.
He does put up ridiculous numbers, I guess. I just. Of course, all right. Of course, yes, Giannis. Of course, I'm just trying to think of other things.
Yeah,
it's so locked down.
No, but CP's basketball IQ is so good that he just finds these guys, these multidimensional guys. Like this is the type of team that he's needed for years. Like the Clippers, Lob City was so one-dimensional. Like they can only do one thing. They could really find their positioning in the paint.
Selling team,
and then
star power,
and then dunk. Yeah. The Rockets, it was kind of like Harden, like let me be ball dominant and shoot. With this team, like everybody does everything, so there's so much for him to work with. So I just think that they're going to be hard to defend, especially in the playoffs. All right.
And I feel like he felt maybe that he was like outcasted, and thrown to OKC, And it's kind of nice that he's found his niche. Here I am. Look at me rooting for Chris Paul. Who would have thought?
I know, and you hate Chris Paul.
I didn't like the Clippers.
All right, you're number 2, Xavier. Oh, number 3. Sorry, you're right. Number 3.
All right. This is just more of like a spitball, really. But I want to see. I'm hoping, or not hoping, but I'm curious to see which big playoff contender, like their championship-winning contender team, is immediately dropped out of contention because one of their players gets COVID.
Who do you think it's gonna be?
I don't know, but I just want to. I'm thinking about who on certain teams, if they got corona, it would be catastrophic, and their team would immediately suck.
LeBron.
It's got to be LeBron.
Kawhi.
Right? Kawhi, but I feel like the Clippers would still be a good team. Yeah, they would
I
lose the
think
best player.
I think you could argue
but-
that with the Lakers too, because they have Anthony Davis, who's probably a better player than Paul George as a supporting
True,
role.
but I think the Clippers have more supporting characters, whereas the Lakers would
Yeah.
fall apart. I would also. Would you say the Bucks if they lost Giannis?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, Pat Millsap. He just.
I would
can't-
say they're completely
he
out.
couldn't lead the team.
Yeah.
But
Middleton,
that's
you
about
mean?
it. Yeah, Chris Middleton. I said Patty Millsap. What am I talking about?
I think that Boston without Tatum would be rough. I think the
Yeah,
Heat.
but it's the East.
Yeah, I think the Heat
Without
without
Butler.
Butler would be really tough.
What about the Sixers without Embiid?
No, I think they'd be better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking
I
that.
kind of think they'd
Not
be
ba-
better, dude.
That's funny. Oh, okay, that's. funny.
I really do. As terrible as that sounds, I kind of think they'd be better.
The Blazers,
And,
if they
and
lost Lillard.
for the listeners, I just want them to know, like, it's not that I think Embiid's bad. I just think that he completely, like, him out of the lineup completely changes the dynamic of the offense, where he's just not, like, chilling around, like, around the key and trying to, like, shoot, like long range jumpers or threes. Like, if you're not gonna have a center in the paint, it's like kind of pointless, and it just like attracts attention around the 3-point line and around the perimeter to where your shooters can't shoot. So it's like you got if you get rid of him, you get a real center in there. It attracts attention down there, and it opens up the court a little bit.
He's not well-rounded enough in all facets of the game to really like kind of control the floor. He's really good at certain things, and he's super tall. And so I think that helps him like be a good center and maybe a power forward. But he can't just like go out and win the game himself. He needs these supporting characters.
Exactly. And I really think that Simmons
He's a role player.
and Harris would step it up in that facet. Yeah, I agree with you with the Trailblazers and Dame. Yeah. If Dame goes down, they're done. 100%.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like whatchamacallit? Like what the teams must know these, right? Like, oh, if this person got it, like we're screwed,
Yeah.
So I wonder like if certain teams are making like ridiculously extra precautions to make sure like not that their season is completely tanked right then and there, Like do they have like security guards like around LeBron 24/7 to make sure like nothing comes into contact and they like double desanitize. He's in like in a bubble box inside of the bubble. You know what I mean?
like every time he touches something, like his security guard's like, "Whoa, hey," and he's got like hand sanitizer pulls out and like puts it in his hand.
Has this been sanitized 3 times before it's been to LeBron? Send it back. Like they have to do things like that because then they'd be done. Then like if the Lakers, they lose LeBron for 2 weeks in the playoffs because he gets corona, like they're done. They're done.
He for sure has a like an assistant like specifically for that, like called like the hand sanitizer assist, like specialist or something.
Hey, tomorrow I'm gonna go do this, so you do it today, and if you get corona, that means I'm not doing it tomorrow. That'd be so funny.
Okay.
he just tries everything for me.
I think Luka with the Mavericks is also I don't think Kristaps has it to carry that team.
Yes, I see that. I agree with that. But I think together they're gonna make a crazy good run.
So this is a hot take. I think Houston without Harden could still be fine. Like I think Russell could still carry that team. Like I don't think they could win championship, but I think they could like do some damage.
No, Houston without James Harden and just Westbrook is like OKC all over again with just Westbrook. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, They don't accomplish anything different.
I don't know, man. But I still think that
I
don't think they accomplish much with them together.
I agree, but it's nice to see 2 fantastic ball players who, just like to just do their thing and ball out and score as many points as possible.
Yeah.
To just be on the same team and like figure it out together. I think we're gonna see in the playoffs that's not gonna work out, but there's gonna be some good games.
What about Zion without or the
Pelicans without
Zion? Hold on. Before you answer,
playoffs.
this entire season has been the Pelicans without Zion, and yet they're still in this position. So it's like,
does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, the Pelicans. They should have been a higher seed. I don't know. They got dealt a terrible hand.
I'm not all in on them. I get that Zion's fun to watch, but I'm not in on them, man. I think
Yeah,
it's the Blazers and the Grizzlies 8 seed to lose.
yeah, I see that. I see that. It's gonna be hard to change up the seedings as they are. I don't think anybody new is getting in. Not even the Blazers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
They have to win 2 games. I don't know.
Okay. So I think Boston, here's my third. Boston will lose in the first round.
Yeah, I see that.
So if it goes as is right now, the Sixers are the 6 seed. Boston's obviously the 3rd seed. That's a lot of size that Boston has to play with, and Boston plays is really small. They play really scrappy, but they play really scrappy in the backcourt. And even Philly's backcourt is big and is strong. So they're not going to be able to play that way. Marcus Smart's not going to be able to bully his way on the offensive or defensive end. And that's going to be tough for Boston. So we're definitely going to find out what Tatum and Brown are made of during that series. But Philly's a very physical team and a very big team. So here's the thing, though. With 8 games left, Indiana could definitely fall to 6 because, especially now, after Sabonis having his injury and being out for a little bit, it's pretty much the Malcolm Brogdon show. And I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon can carry that team by himself. No Oladipo, no Domantas Sabonis. So it's Brogdon and what's his face? Tyreek Evans. Not Tyreek Evans. That's not right. What were you gonna say?
It's Tyreek Evans, right?
Oh, it is Tyreek Evans. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, who, Tyreek Hill?
Oh no, Miles Turner. My bad, Miles Turner. So him, Miles Turner,
but that's
and T.J. Warren, I just don't think are gonna be enough. So, and T.J. McConnell. So and Doug McDermott. I would be worried if I was Indiana fans.
Yeah, I also would count Indiana out. They're not that fantastic, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was more for
Oh,
for
is
Celtics, though.
Kemba gonna play for the Celtics? He
Last I
day-to-day
heard,
with
he
what?
would be ready by playoffs.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, I really like Kemba.
love.
I always
Kemba.
like the way he plays. Love the way he play. I always liked him in college. So I'm excited, but I just can't get excited about the Celtics. I can't get excited about any Eastern Conference team. They just all seem so not good enough.
But who would you say is the number one guy on the Celtics? Would you say Kemba? Because I would say Tatum.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's definitely the number one player for sure on the team. And then Kemba for sure, and then Gordon Hayward, I would say.
Over Jaylen Brown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a stacked team, but I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, he's just sitting out a couple scrimmages. His knee. It sounds like he'll be ready by season start next week or in a couple days. So.
But also, I want to say the Sixers haven't really earned it in the playoffs yet.
No.
You know what I mean? They haven't really accomplished anything. They haven't really shown when they did win that first round before they lost to Toronto that they were a force to be reckoned with. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so they could easily just blow it in the first round and then Embiid will cry again. Whatever.
All right. So let's get to Jackson's 3 things. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Jackson's number 1 thing was LeBron is never going to win another finals. As a lot of listeners know, Jackson is also a Warriors fan, so he's probably just showing shade on LeBron. I would love to.
So he said he's never gonna win.
He's never going to win another finals. Sorry, I laughed during saying that. I don't know about that. I'm not willing to hop on support of that take, but
I think that's I think it's a hot take simply because it's almost a certainty that LeBron is gonna go back to the finals at some point in his career. It might not be this year specifically, but he's gonna go back. It's gonna happen. I can't doubt that.
Yeah, I think he went in extra hot on that one. Okay, so his second one is Nuggets make the conference finals. I could definitely see that. I could see them winning the conference. You don't think so, Xavier?
I'm not a Nuggets fan. I
The
don't
look you're giving on the Zoom call right now is very interesting. You looked very hesitant to just respond in general.
So, well, I don't really like the Nuggets, just as a team.
Okay.
You know, I don't think they're as a franchise. Also, not a big fan.
So you're biased again.
And-
You are biased to so many random things.
And and they have to play. They're the third seed, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah. So they'd have to
They're
play
third seed. So they have to play
OKC
either
first.
Houston. No, they would play Houston, who's a 6th seed.
Oh, that's right. OKC's 5. My bad.
Or the Dallas Mavericks, which Dallas could definitely move into the 6th seed. I see.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
And for these reasons, I say no. They're not going to make it to the conference semis.
Okay.
No, championships. He said they're going to go to the Western Conference
Western Conference Finals.
And play. He didn't say who, huh?
No, he just said that the Nuggets will make it to the conference finals.
I don't see it. And these reasons. For these reasons, I have to say no.
For these reasons. For those reasons, I'm out.
Yes, and for those reasons, I'm out.
Shark Tank, baby.
So all right, so if they say they had to beat one of those teams, and then they move on and have to play Utah or OKC, or maybe even the Lakers.
I don't know, man. They've got a pretty decent backcourt. I love Jokic. I love what he can do. I would love to see him go against Anthony Davis in a conference finals. I think that's the matchup of the two best centers in the league, in my opinion. I don't know. I think there's definitely a road for them. Houston doesn't have Westbrook right now. He'll be probably back in a week, but still.
He'll be back.
They don't have a lot of size, so that's one game that the Nuggets can play on them. And then next round they would play against. Let's see.
It's either the winner of 3-4 or 4-5. I mean, Utah Jazz, OKC, or
They would play the
Clippers.
Clippers. They would play the Clippers.
The Clippers, because assuming the Clippers are gonna dog whoever's.
The Clippers right now don't have Lou Williams or Pat Beverly. All these guys that left the bubble for like a day, they're all in quarantine again. They're all gonna be out of shape. Like it's something to think
Why would they
about.
be out of shape?
Because they have to stay in quarantine. They're not allowed to leave their hotel room and like work out. They have to stay in there for 10 days.
Oh, you can't even work out when you have to do the extra quarantine inside the bubble.
When you have to quarantine to come back in the bubble, you have to stay in your hotel room for literally like 10 days straight.
Yeah, like a third of their oh no, actually no. Yeah, they have a lot of people out day to day with Corona.
Yeah.
Positive. But you know what? I just looked at Denver and so were they. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Monte Morris, PJ Dozier.
They got popped with.
Bates,
They tested positive too, or they got in trouble with that, or they're quarantined.
They're all in quarantine right now.
Shit.
So that's Denver right there. Again, I don't know. Paul Millsap, I like him, but it's him and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and who's the number one dude? Who do I really like? Oh, Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
They're gonna do some crazy. Make it to the Western Conference Finals. Blow it out your ass, Jackson. You're wrong.
Okay, whoa. Aggressive. All right, so here's the last one, Xavier. You're going to really hate this one. Nets don't advance to the second round of the playoffs. That was specifically pointed at you and your take. Literally specifically pointed at you and your take.
I don't have a problem with that. It's not a hot take. It's a reasonable take.
Yeah, yours is a hot take, and he's just talking shit to you.
You know, but that's like saying, like, they suck, you know? But they don't.
All right.
They're inspiring, you know? And think about what the Nets could do for the nation if they were to just, you know, rise up and defeat a much better team and upset them and the entire fan base. It's the kind of stuff you only hear in fairy tales, man. Let's go Nets. Go Nets.
Oh, you are just going to die on this hill, dude. All right, thanks for coming on, Xavier. I appreciate it. And we'll move on to the next sport next. We'll move on to the next sport.
Next.
We'll be right back, and stay tuned. All right, we are back, and it is golf time. Oh yeah! So I decided to put the golf as the second sport to talk about in this episode because I know a lot of you aren't golf fans, so now you're forced to listen to golf talk. And I brought pretty much my only friend on who watches as much golf as me. Bobby's back. What up, Bobby?
What's going on?
We're in close proximity for once when doing this podcast. Only like 50 miles away or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand how you always end up in tiny little Delaware, but
I don't get it either, dude. But hey, it works
I
out.
feel bad for you. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's definitely a culture shock. What was the first thing I said to you when I came over? Like, I can't tell if like everywhere on the East Coast is hood or if it's just old ass buildings that aren't really renovated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a good mix of both.
All right, Bobby. So, yeah, exactly. So 3 things for us to look for with major golf season just coming right around the corner. Sorry, actually, let me pull up the schedule so everybody knows. So we got the PGA Championship, which is coming up on August 6th. It's the first tournament of the new major golf season because they had their shit together and they organized it early. That's at TPC Harding Park, August 6th through 9th in San Francisco. Then the U.S. Open is going to be on September 17th through 20th. That is in Mamaroneck, New York. Does that sound right, Bobby?
Close enough. I'll give it to you.
Okay, thanks. And then the Masters will be played on November 12th through 15th. That's obviously in Augusta, Georgia. I feel like November is super late for the Masters, like in terms of like when I think of Georgia, I think of rain. You know what I mean? In November, I feel like they should be a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, I think with them because they were pretty quick to, kind of delay, and then I think they were the first major to reschedule, and I think they wanted to go like as far out as possible while not like playing golf in wintertime. I mean, November in Georgia, it's still going to be decent, but you're right. I mean, you're right. There's definitely a higher chance of rain. You're getting to like the end of like hurricane season in the South, so like Georgia's always, you never know with the weather there, but I'm really interested in that one because they're used to playing in April when it may be a little colder, and if now the course, the people at Augusta have had more time to like prep the course, and so it'll be interesting to see like what kind of shape it's in.
Yeah, I'm also interested in how like certain golfers will like get advantages like playing during the fall. You know what I mean? Like I haven't looked at the numbers, but I bet there are certain golfers that do better in the fall than they do in the spring. Like just something about warm weather or something. I thought PGA was the first to reschedule, isn't that? I thought that was why they're the first one coming up because they had their shit together quicker.
I thought it was the Masters, and I thought that's why it's so late is because they were the first. They were like, we're going all the way in November,
Yeah,
and then kind of once everything started to fall into place and they realized that they can start holding tournaments again, that's when they put these tournaments in August and the U.S. Open in September.
And one more thing to go over: the Open Championship, they just completely canceled it this year. I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, I'd like to declare myself the Open champion for 2020.
There you go, Bobby Brabson, the Open champion of 2020. It doesn't even have his PGA Tour card. He came in as an amateur and he fucking took it all.
I came, I saw, I conquered.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think that definitely had something to do with weather because that was supposed to be in Scotland this year.
Yeah, and I think with the international traveling, they were just kind of like, we're not even gonna try.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that because most even European golfers like Rory, those guys like live in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and all these are.
So
I think they're all within continental U.S. They're not even going to Hawaii or anything.
No. Yeah. I mean, New York, San Francisco, and Georgia.
Georgia for the majors. Yeah.
I didn't even think that's probably it. That's a good point. I didn't even fucking think about that. Yeah, the international travel. All right. So 3 things to look for in the upcoming major golf season. Bobby, I'll let you go first. You're number 1.
So I think my number 1, and I know it's been like the big topic with a lot of golf fans, has been this jacked, roided out looking Bryson DeChambeau coming back just totally yoked from quarantine. I think they said he put on like 40 to 50 pounds of muscle, which
I'm
not a doctor.
I don't know if that's muscle or not. Do you believe that that's muscle?
I know I'm not a doctor. I was a big Barry Bonds fan growing up.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I don't know. I don't know if it's natural, but just the way he's like mashing the ball,
Yeah.
like some of those drives, like whether or not he's getting the assist from the cart path, regardless, he's still like he's carrying his drives like 340, 350, just like hitting it farther than like people are used to ever seeing. And I think it'll have a big impact in the future, because a lot of what you see with golf is guys trying to, like, a lot of times the shot that they're hitting, they're trying to set up their next shot.
Yeah.
Bryson's almost been like, screw this, I'm just going to hit it as far as I can and then worry about the shot when I get up there.
But that's interesting because that's always been like Bubba and like Dustin Johnson's strategy. Like they are always just like, I'm just gonna fucking hit it as hard as I can, and then I'm gonna work from this point. Like Dustin is one of the people who, like, I would say professional golfers use their driver like 40% of a tournament, like on like par fours or par fives, because they see like, oh, there's a huge bend here, so maybe I should go with the 3-wood, or maybe I should go with the 5-iron in order to just kind of like get it just at the bend, and then I can take it from there. Like Dustin, it feels like Dustin every single tee off, he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna bomb it over these trees or some shit like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have the ball higher up on the tee so it flies up in the air. It's like, it's a really interesting strategy. So you're saying that you think Bryson's been doing that?
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like. He's just completely mashing the ball with just like no regard for. I mean, you saw it with the tournament a couple weeks ago, where he crushes his drive, and then but he's in a bad lie, and then he hits like 3 straight balls out of bounds.
Yeah,
and it's just like he just had like a classic meltdown hole, and it just made you, as an amateur golfer. I mean, I'm a Open champion, but amateur golfer, it felt great watching him count his strokes and get a 10 on a hole. I'm like, man, I've seen that way too often. And then it's like, golfers, they're just like us.
the funny, yeah, dude, for real. And like standing on the green and having to like point, you're pointing like you're actually using your finger to point back like in the areas that you hit it. Like, okay, so
you're like, oh, nope, out of bounds.
2, 3,
also
4.
Out of bounds.
Yeah, for the listeners, me and Bobby are just pointing around the Zoom screen right now, like actually doing it. Yeah, but at the same time, he's played the best since the restart. So it's like something is working for him. Maybe it's the courses that he's playing. Just maybe that one hole was bad, but like something about this, just like, all right, I'm going to use brutal strength to just get the ball as close to the hole as I can. I mean, there's something that's working. Something about his new strategy is working.
Yeah, I mean, and he's always been like the like science guy.
Yeah.
With like golf, like he's looking at like the wind and like air pressure and all that, and but I think combine, like, if you combine that with the fact that he's now like absolutely jacked and driving the ball like 30-40 yards farther than he was, he's set up a little bit better for success. Now it'll be interesting to see how he does with the majors. I was reading about like the PGA Championship at this Harding Park. Because I mean, to be honest, I don't know if they've had a major there. If they had it, it's been a long time.
They haven't.
But
only
it's like
Olympic club from what I know of.
Yeah, and so it's a municipal course, so it's not like a private club, which is pretty cool. But I was reading it just about the conditions and how they've been prepping for it. And just like they've basically been like reshaping their fairways, and like they said, the rough is like ankle deep. Like those classic golf videos where they're dropping balls in the rough and it just disappears.
Dude, that feels like a Scottish like course for sure. Like that high grass.
Yeah, so it's going to be important to be like accurate, and so with him mashing it like he is, but if he's not always going to be middle of the fairway, we'll see how he does with that.
What do they call it? The fescue? The fescue?
The
right?
fescue.
Yeah.
Don't hit it in the fescue.
Yeah.
So I think that's been the biggest one. One of the other things like I was kind of interested in, and now like seeing golf, how they've been since the restart, was like obviously like every sport, how they would adjust to like no fans. But when at the end of the day with the golf, I feel like the fans may make the least difference of like most sports.
100%.
Because like it's a solo game. You're not really playing against anyone, and the most poor, but like the
Maybe
crowds are silent when people
Maybe-
are hitting.
maybe the final round you are like just like playing with someone, like let's say you're the last two groups just playing with someone, and let's say the guy you're playing with is like you're neck and neck and you guys are for the lead, or the group in front of you, and you see the scoreboard and they just it always feels like they change the scoreboard right as the team the group behind is approaching the green. So it's like you see the golfers see it and they're just like, oh, you got a birdie, god,
Yeah.
I mean, you're chasing him, but you're not like, I guess you're not playing technically against anyone. There's no defense in golf.
Right. Yeah, and it just seems like with golf, like the top guys are gonna perform, whether or not there's fans there. But one of the interesting things that like I didn't really consider, but obviously makes sense, is with not having fans, like places like Winged Foot where they're doing the U.S. Open, like they're talking about how they don't have, they're not worrying about setting up grandstands for fans to sit in, and like I'm wondering if that's gonna like open the course up a little bit, whereas like before, like guys don't want to go too far right, too far left because there's stands there, but now if it's just an open, more open course, if that'll kind of give guys more confidence when they're hitting shots. And
also it gives more of a clear eye line. I feel like that's going to be kind of important.
I don't know how those guys stand on tee box with people lined right down their left side and right down the right side.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm surprised no one's been killed by a tee. Like, I know how I hit a tee shot, and I'm just like, I don't know. Those people are very trusting of these professional.
Yeah, I mean,
golfers.
like when I'm on a course and a ball hits near me and I don't hear four, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like I turn around and I'm pissed off, and these guys are just they bought tickets like to get to for that to happen to them. Like they're all in for it.
Yeah.
Was that your number two then?
Yeah, just how they're gonna react and how it affects the tournaments, and then
number three. Save your third. I'll do my first two. I wanted to go back and forth. My bad. I should explain that before. And I just want one more remark on number one for Bryson DeChambeau. I have a question for you. Are we sure he's jacked? So like, obviously his upper body, he looks a lot bigger, and like they're saying like that first tournament in Florida, Jim Nance was like, he's telling us the other day he took 5 protein shakes a day, and I'm just like, 5 protein shakes a day, that doesn't seem healthy. That just seems like you're just gonna blow up like a balloon. And like that first tournament, he looked like he kind of had a belly on him, but maybe it was his shirt or something, because the other tournaments after that he looked a little bit slimmer, but still like his cheeks are a little fat. Like, are we sure that he got yoked, or just like he got a little bit fat and it was like, all right, cool, maybe I should start like trying to lose this weight, and it was too late by then, so he's just like he gained a bunch of muscle instead, or he just doesn't know how to work out, so he only does strength building workouts instead of fat burning workouts.
It could be. So you think maybe Bryson put on a little COVID-19 while he was stuck in quarantine? And
hey, we all have, man. It's all good. I have too.
It happens. Yeah. No, I mean I feel like that's definitely, we could have a case of like popcorn muscles where he's just like he could bench out of his mind, but I mean his swing, just like I was watching a video of him like just taking practice swings in his house. Yeah. And like the swing was just like ridiculously fast. And you just see like the curvature in the driver as he's like pulling it back.
And,
he is mashing the ball, but it could be he could just be a little chunky.
All right, so my number one is Tony Finau is on a roll for the past 2 tournaments. He looks very good, and before the shutdown, he was also killing it. This is, I mean, I just feel like hardcore golf fans know he's been playing well, but this is like a dark horse to look for all 3 of these majors. I know like John Rahm's getting a lot of attention. Brooks Koepka is not playing very well, but he's getting a lot of attention. Tony Finau is going to be my guy to watch for sure. I really think he's gonna come in big and compete, at least in these 3 majors, and he could potentially win one. And he's been playing really well the past like 4 years. Like he's due for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at like his finishes in majors. I mean, 2018 he finished top 10 in the Masters, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship.
Yeah.
And then last year he finished top 5 in the Masters and the Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Tony Finau. I feel like, unfortunately, maybe not everybody remembers this, but like I'll always remember him
rolling his ankle.
when he dislocated his ankle. I mean, he finished the round and like he finished that whole weekend, I think. But just like dislocating his ankle, just walking off the tee box.
Dude, but it was in the par 3 contest too, so it was a day before the Masters, and you're just like, oh man, what are you doing? But at the same time, through 2 rounds, he was in first place, and then you could tell like after a couple of days, like the soreness was really getting to him because he started falling off quick on that 3rd day.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Tony Finau. I always root for him when he's whenever he's in the hunt, whenever he's playing, I was trying to see where he's at. So I think I could definitely, I mean, just off those finishes that I just read off, like I could definitely see him winning a major or two in the next year or so.
Yeah. All right. And then my second one is so it's kind of 2, but they're related. So bear with me. Are we going to see Phil potentially win his first U.S. Open? For those who are not as big of golf fans out there, the U.S. Open has been like the dark shadow over Phil's career. He has finished second place 6 times. 6 times. That is not a joke. He is always in the hunt, it feels like, and he has all 6 of those losses. Actually, it might be 8 now that I think about it. All of those losses, either way. He was in first place going into the final round, and then he almost always shoots above par in his final round, which he kind of like loses the lead. So it's kind of a big deal. He's pushing towards the end of his career. He desperately needs to. This is the one major he hasn't won. I just want it because he's my favorite golfer of all time, and to cement his legacy, I mean, he's already a Hall of Fame golfer, but to cement his legacy, it'd be great to see him win one more. And then also, my current favorite golfer, Ricky Fowler, has finished second in several times in almost every single major and has yet to win one. And he always comes in really hot, playing really good going into major season, and just can never pull one out. Bobby, he's also one of your favorite golfers too. Am I correct?
He is actually both of them.
Yeah,
Phil's near and dear to my heart as a fellow lefty. And then I've always been a fan of Ricky. I think I don't want to say that it's your fault, but they are 2 of your favorite golfers, and they both just keep finishing second in major tournaments. So
you're right, it's probably my fault.
I'm not blaming you, but I'm just saying that there might be some correlation. But no, I mean for Phil, unfortunately, like I love Phil, but like, and I didn't even realize this till I just looked at his Wikipedia page. He just turned 50 this year. Yeah,
he's getting up there. Him and Tiger are both getting up there.
Yeah, but it just seems like, and the U.S. Open is always set up for like, it just seems like it's always set up for the big mashers, like the guys who can hit it farther.
Yeah.
And as you get older, it's just kind of that's just how it goes. You just don't hit it as long.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I mean, as much as I would love to see him finish that career Grand Slam too, I just don't know if he can. I just don't know if he'll be able to like keep up with these younger guys.
At his age, it takes a certain course for him to be able to do it. And 4 years ago, he had that course and he lost again. That was one of his second place losses, that he lost the lead at the last day. And I don't know if there's another one coming that he could do that at. It's definitely, I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell. I would have to look at the future sites, but yeah, he's gonna need a specific course in order to pull it out. Ricky, I mean, there's no excuse for Ricky. He's just got to show up on the last day, which he doesn't. He usually he dances around even par on the last day. He does great 3 rounds and he just dances around. He's got to show up. He's got to get into one of those last two or three groups so that he is he knows what he's getting into when he tees off on, in the afternoon. So he knows who's ahead at that point. And he's just got to do it. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I want Ricky to win one. That's I mean, like 2014, it feels like back to 2014, 2015, 2013 was when everyone was talking about the next big group of golfers, and it was Rory, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler. Ricky finished top 5 in every major that year.
Yeah, dude. It's insane.
And he's had a couple other top 10s and he finished second in the Masters 2 years ago. But yeah, like you said, it's just that it seems like the last day he just doesn't bring it, and just doesn't he just can't close.
It sucks because he's starting to become like the Phil of that generation. He's the only one of that generation who can't win one. Like Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, like you name Patrick Reed, those guys.
Yep.
Like that generation, I was like, that's the generation that got me back into golf. I was like, okay, cool. We got like 5 guys who are gonna fucking come and bring it every week. So I kind of latched on to Ricky because he's just got style. But dude, God, yeah, he needs to win one. All right, what's your last one, Bobby?
So my last one, this may be a basic take, but as long as he's playing golf, he's going to be a big story, is can Tiger win another major?
Oh, my God, that's so great. So this is perfect. It's very correlated to my last one. So let me just say my last one, and then we'll just go into Tiger talk, okay?
Yeah.
Tiger's comeback is over.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So here's the thing. He had a shot had COVID not happened because he was playing really well going into major season for the spring. But after watching him play last weekend, it was brutal, dude. He was so bad. He barely made the cut, and then he just shit the bed the second half going into Saturday and Sunday. I think he took too long of a layoff, and I just don't think he's got it in time to make a run. So maybe I should restate that better. His comeback's not over, but it's not going to continue this season. It might continue next season, but it's not going to continue this season. I just don't think he can do it.
I hear what you're saying, and the same thing we said with Phil. Like Tiger's getting up there. He's obviously he's had a ton of injuries, but I still think as long as he's out there, because Tiger kind of feels like the one. Like I don't think he's gonna hang on. Like once he knows that he's done, I think he'll just call it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's gonna be one that plays on the senior tour and just hangs out and golfs. I think once he knows that there's just no shot, he's just gonna walk away.
Yeah.
But I do think, and it may be hard this year, but I do think he wins. I'm gonna say 2 more majors for the end of his career.
I think he can too. I just wanted a lot of drama when I said that statement. So I don't think it's completely over. I just think this season it's not going to continue. I think next season would have to be his time. He's got to hit those tournaments sooner and kind of get his game back. But at the same time, there's 2 weekends left, so maybe he can get something back in time.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's playing. I don't think he's playing this weekend. He might be. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if he's played the courses. Obviously he's played Augusta and he's played Winged Foot where the U.S. Open is, but it says he missed the cut at the 06 U.S. Open and finished tied for 29th at the 97 PGA Championship. So that doesn't look like it's his best friend. And then TPC Harding Park, it says he won a World Golf Classic event there in 2005, beating everyone's favorite golfer, John Daly. And then went 5-0 in match play during the 2009 President's Cup. So
speaking of John Daly, it's National Tequila Day today, July 24th. So yeah.
Shout out the GOAT, John Daly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I would love it if Tiger were like to win back-to-back Masters. That'd be awesome. But just based on what I've seen from him the past tournament, because this is his first tournament back last weekend, it did not look good. And we're 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I'm just not one to, especially after he came back and did win the Masters last year. Because if he still hadn't won one, it's like you're going on 12 years of no major titles. It's like, all right, maybe it's not happening. But to see him come back and win Augusta, which like obviously, Augusta's not the hardest course that they play, and especially for someone like Tiger who's played it, I would guess 1,000 times in his life. But yeah, I mean, with the Masters coming in November, maybe he gets dialed in by then and runs another green jacket back. And
I can only hope. Fellow Raider fan, baby. All right, Bobby, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Have fun traveling across the country. Be safe. Enjoy the dirty South, and we'll talk soon. Maybe some NBA talk. Maybe we'll have some good news to talk about the Sixers, even though it hasn't been a trending thing this season. Just kidding. That was just a quick little jab. Okay, what's up? Soccer time. So European soccer is also right around the corner, along with a lot of the other leagues, like I was saying earlier. August 7th begins the restart of the UEFA Champions League. Premier League has been going for about, I don't know. Edriss, what would you say? Like a month now? Month and a half, maybe?
Yeah, about. They started in, I think, earlier mid-June.
Yeah. By the way, Edriss Soleyman is back with us today. Hello, Edriss. And new podcaster of the Magic Hour podcast, Jose Chaires-Gonzalez. Did I say your last name right? I've always wondered if I said it right.
Yeah, pretty good. Chaires.
I don't have that Latin flavor. I know I'm the worst Mexican in the history of Mexicans. And then the Italian league's been about like the same time. I think those Bundesliga was the only one that started like 3 months ago. The rest kind of started around the same time, right?
Except for French league, right? I don't think they restarted at all.
Yeah, French league really early in like April or something said, "Hey, we're just cutting the season off. It's over."
Damn.
Did PSG the title?
Was like anyone even close to them in the title race, or was it just like it pretty much just them? So they're just like, fuck it. No, I mean, PSG everyone expected to win, but Marseille was 8 points behind, which isn't much. I mean, that's 3 wins.
Yeah. So for the listeners, we're technically still in the round of 16. There's still, 4 matchups left. So 8 teams, pretty much the second half of the bracket. Manchester City is playing Real Madrid, and they have their second leg coming up on August 7th. Juventus is playing Lyon. That is also on August 7th, playing their second leg. Bayern plays Chelsea on the 8th, and so does Barcelona plays Napoli. Teams who have made it in so far: PSG, who won on a 3-2 aggregate against Dortmund. Atletico beat Liverpool, sons of bitches. 4-2 aggregate. Oh God.
Leipzig.
Edriss,
Yeah.
help me out.
Leipzig.
Leipzig, that sounds right. They beat Tottenham 4-0. God, they beat the shit out of them. And then Edriss's favorite team this year, Atalanta, beat Valencia 8-4. Holy shit. Aggregate. So that's kind of what we're playing with right now. Okay, guys. Who wants to go first? 3 things to look for with the restart of the Champions League. I think Jose should go first. He's a newcomer.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go first.
What were you going to say, Edriss? Sorry.
I was going to say, are we just going 3 in a row, or we're going 1 each?
No, we'll do 1 each. We'll go in a circle.
Okay.
All right, Jose.
All right, so my first one is based around Barcelona and Messi. I don't know if you guys remember his recent outburst where he's talking about, kind of talking to like ownership, coaches, and the rest of the players, and how they've been inconsistent, and he's kind of screaming and yelling and kicking for help. And like the quote, I want to read you guys a part of it. It's where he goes, I said before that if we continued playing as if we were, it would be difficult to win the Champions League, and now it's clear it wasn't even enough to win in La Liga. And it's just like all this, he's bringing extra attention to the team, so I'm just interested to see how they will play against Napoli. And I think Napoli's a great team. I think I think it'll be a good game, and Barcelona will advance, but I look for them to struggle in the next round coming up.
Has he ever been like a diva like that? I'm a little shocked to hear him say these things. Like, is this new, or has he shown signs of it at least? Like, I'm so confused.
So I feel like as Messi's gotten older, I've heard it more. So especially early in his career, I didn't hear anything. As he got older, apparently he helps make a lot of decisions for the club in terms of free agents and transfer market stuff. He's almost like a LeBron-esque in terms of influence on the team.
And that's what I think is going on too. Is it's like as he's gotten older and commanded more of the salary cap, it's also been harder for the team to bring in more players. But like he's still like, hey, we need to win. We need to bring in players, and like we need to win now.
But here's the thing, dude. In that theory, like, he has no reason and like no right to be like that, like butthurt and like a little bitch about it. If he's the one who's like calling a lot of these shots, like that's just fucking ridiculous. And now he's talking about leaving, right? Isn't that like a bigger rumor?
I think that's what they think because of what he's saying. He's like, if kind of like he's not saying it, but it's like insinuated. Like if we don't like do something, like he's like, oh, this is the most unhappy he's ever been in Barcelona. He's gonna leave.
So I actually think it'd be good for Barcelona if he left. That might be a hot take, but
in what way? Like in terms of the soccer play, like the strategy, or in terms of like the club maybe. And like in like the business.
So a lot of Barcelona's stars are aging. They're all kind of over 30 years old, like the really like key people.
Yeah.
And not just Messi. And the team is still built kind of around Messi. And they keep bringing in random young guns in and out, but those guys want to be a star of a team. They're not going to be sitting here playing second fiddle to Messi. And so I think Barcelona's never going to be able to move on and rebuild a new kind of like superstar team if they keep having Messi there. But it's also, how do you let go of Messi, best player in the world?
I think we kind of saw that with like Griezmann too, right? Because like he came on and he didn't really like mesh really well going for, like, you know, when he first got there. And I think it's like maybe similar position type of thing, but like it's also like you're not going to move Messi out of his position, you know, like that's where he plays.
When you say don't get along, do you mean like personally, or do you mean like in terms of like on the field type of stuff?
Just like on the field, I think, just like the chemistry.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say because I heard Griezmann's like a really cool hang. Like, what would you not like about him? No, dude, I heard that. I've heard that like a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, who's their young talent now? I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I think they just poached somebody from Ajax, didn't they?
That's the thing. I feel like so they had a lot of homegrown talent in like the early 2010s, like obviously Messi and that crew. But then it kind of feels like they've been trying to play like the Yankees game ever since then. Like they brought in Ibra, they brought in I don't know, other people.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I'm totally blanking. But Griezmann is one of them. Sorry.
I would say they have Dembele, who is only 23 years old and is supposed to be really, really good.
Yeah.
But he's like really injury prone.
Yeah.
I think the legit is the guy I'm thinking about. I'm not sure.
That's his name. That's a fucking sick name.
No, I know.
The legit?
No,
I don't know.
What?
I know who you're talking about. Delete.
Yeah, Delete.
But it's spelled L-I-G-T, and he's a Dutch guy.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. If he gets good, he's going to blow up in America. Everybody's going to be on that. Yo, he's legit, bro. He's fucking legit.
So, no, he ended up going to Juventus.
Oh, that's where he went.
Damn.
I thought they were trying to do like a swap or something.
So
or
they
they're
got
talking.
even...
Maybe that's what they're talking about right now.
Ronaldo got another tool. All right. Interesting. All right. Cool. I like it. Edriss, you're up.
Perfect. Because this is a good segue since we're talking about Juventus. So, I mean, this is, I think, a pretty obvious one, but can Mr. Champions League not only come back and beat Lyon, can he actually take the team past the quarters? So, Mr. Champions League, a.k.a. Ronaldo, one big reason why Juventus picked him up was for Champions League and international success on the club level. So, number one, they're down 1-0 to Lyon. They are playing in Italy on the way back, I believe. But they are down 1-0. So then they haven't looked to form. They've lost to a couple real shit teams. They've tied a few bad games, and it seems like they're not really as motivated. So number one, they need to overcome Lyon. Then if they beat Lyon, then they have to play against either Real Madrid or Manchester City, which is going to be an extremely tough test. And if you go back to Champions League last year, they lost in the quarters against Ajax, where no one thought that was going to happen. They were supposed to slaughter them. And so if you have 2 years in a row of Ronaldo not being able to get the team past the quarters, I think you start getting a little worried as management.
Do you think they get through?
I think they come back and beat Lyon because Lyon.
So they are indeed playing in Turin. Just wanted to.
Okay.
I was looking that up while you were talking. Just wanted to confirm that.
So it's actually that's slightly negative because they didn't get any away goals the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if Lyon scores, they can't tie. They have to win by then 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's still, I mean, there's not really a home field advantage anymore with no crowds, but I feel like it's a pretty realistic task of them to make it through. That is a tough second round opponent, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
So this was also one of mine, and I think that they actually missed their Champions League, like you said, 5 Champions League title. He's the all-time leading Champions League scorer. He's actually gotten better since the break in Italy. He's been scoring goals. I think he's the first player to do over 50 goals in the English Premier League, the Spanish League, and the Italian League. So I don't know. I think he comes back and he brings the magic
find a
back.
way. He always finds a way.
We'll see. I think they get past Lyon. I don't know if they're going to get past Man City, Juventus as a whole. We'll see.
I think Man City's sketchy too, though.
In what way?
Okay, I'm going to have to go into my second one because it's Manchester City. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm going to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I'm going to do 2 in a row. I'm telling you guys right now, mine aren't as, like, strategic. Mine are more, like
I mean, it just I didn't plan this. Like, it just came up with the Idrisses.
This is good. I'm not hating
City.
on it. This is great.
Yeah.
This is great radio. It just makes me look like a fucking moron. But it'll. I don't know. I'm going more for humor. So it is what it is.
Perfect. Well, Manchester City is like their erratic play. Like we just saw them lose to Arsenal in the FA Cup semifinal, and it's like the worst Arsenal team in like 30 years, is what everybody's saying. It's been a while in recent times. And then they go and they destroy Watford 4-0 a couple days after that. So it's like they're either really great or they're really terrible. But Watford was also a pretty bad team. So it's like, what Manchester City are we going to see against, who are they playing? Real Madrid.
But to be fair, like every Premier League team when they came back was like kind of like shaking off the rust. Edriss was talking about this. We were hanging out at his house watching a couple games a couple Saturdays ago, and he was talking about how like no team scored over, what was it, like 2 goals in a game in their first like 2 games or something like that, Edriss?
I think that was in the beginning because like now I think it's kind of given them a break that they don't really get in the Premier League, and like everyone is actually starting to play better now. Like I think it's helped in a sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like they have a goal lead and they're playing Real Madrid, so it's just like they can sit back and defend. But like I think they get through. But I'm just interested to see like how it happens.
I mean, they're playing. Wait, who are they playing again? You say
they're playing Madrid.
Pound for pound, I feel like Man City is much better than Madrid. I mean,
Madrid just won the league.
I don't know.
Madrid just won the league.
Yeah,
the Premier League is not as good as the Spanish league, bro.
So hold on, Real Madrid just won the La Liga. You're right; it's not as good as the Premier League, but they still won it pretty convincingly, and their team is also pretty stacked. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Zidane and the team to not put up a fight against City.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining for sure because, like, obviously they're coming in losing, so Real Madrid's going to come guns blazing, and Manchester City, they're going to have to play, like, what do they call it, tit for tat?
That's a fun word, tit for tat. So speaking of, even though we kind of veered off from it, but speaking of shaking off the rust, are we sure PSG is a good team? I'm very curious about this because, okay, they play in the French league, which is like horse shit. Like every team in there is fucking terrible. So every year they just like completely just walk away with it. Ever since like, even before Ibra came, when it was just like Cavani just like scoring goals, like they just fucking walked away with it. This is the first year they've made it past the knockout round. They always make it to the group stage and they always look really good in the group stage. But this is the first year they've ever won a tournament game, like a knockout round. Or not tournament round, like a knockout round. Yeah, man. I mean, they haven't played in months. So they are not seasoned at all. I feel like they're going to come out really rusty. I've never really, ever since he went over to PSG, Neymar, I've never been super convinced in the way he plays in the club. seen? I know 2 years ago there was a lot of talk about in the offseason him leaving, and he was very vocal with that talk. Like he wasn't like saying like no, I'm not going. He was kind of like almost like encouraging it. All these rumors. So like I don't know, man. It's just that entire team. I just don't get it. Are we sure they're good? Are we sure?
I don't know that anyone has ever really taken them serious in like the Champions League stage. Like everyone kind of expects them to get to the knockout rounds, and that's just kind of about where they get to, and then no one's ever surprised when they get kicked out. It's just like, your team looks great on paper, but your league's not competitive enough.
I have a friend, his name is Sean. He is like convinced every single year that PSG is going to like win it all. He's like kind of like ever since Ibra went there, he's like been kind of like a PSG fan. And every year I show him the same stats. I'm like, dude, they've lost like 3 knockout rounds in a row. They've not lost 2 knockout rounds in a row.
I mean,
bro, they've like never even really they haven't made it to the Champions League like knockout for like years. Like, where are you getting this information from?
So I think it's like Jose said. On paper, they're stacked. I mean, if you wrote down those players on paper, I mean, this is like one of the top 3 teams in Europe. But you're right. They don't play in a competitive league. They haven't. So the last time they played was on March 11. Just to put it out there.
They only beat Dortmund on a 3-2 aggregate. This is Dortmund. I'm showing them on the Zoom right now. Fucking Dortmund. Like, come on, dude.
Well, Dortmund's decent, but yeah, they won on 3-2 aggregate, and also in the second leg, they won 2-0, and Dortmund also got a red card, and
yeah.
So I agree. They're stacked. I actually don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna beat Atalanta because I'm pretty hot on them as a dark horse in the tournament.
So, Edriss, when you told me about those stats, about their like goal scoring stats in their offense, I looked it up, and it is pretty fucking overwhelming. It's like, holy shit, these guys just fucking score.
What are the stats?
It's ridiculous. They average like 3 goals a game, like across the entire season since like August.
How are they doing since the restart?
Good. They're doing really well. They went from being in 4th place in Serie A to ended up being up to 2nd and now pretty solidified into 3rd and already like locked in their Champions League spot. They're a good team. They've been destroying people.
And remember, I asked you like, are they just like stacking the front line and just like not playing defense? But their defensive numbers aren't that bad either. Like they're pretty above average. Cool. All right, here's my second one then. The American fucking legend, Christian Pulisic. Can he keep up the hot streak going into the Champions League and pull out a fucking miracle on ice and defeat the stacked Bayern Munich to make it to the semifinals?
Absolutely not. It's 3-0, bro. Bayern has been killing it.
Hey,
Bayern's probably going to play their B squad and they're still going to win.
Pretty bad.
I had to throw like some American flavor in here, bro. Hey, we don't know. Hey, Pulisic could score a hat trick, and then like they'd have to score more goals. They'll find they could win like 4-0. Who knows?
I mean, yeah. I think what's on their side is time, right? Like the Premier League will be over by then, essentially for them. So like they can go all out, and it's like they're gonna play a star-studded lineup and just one game. This is it. 4 goals. Don't let them score any.
Against the best keeper in the world.
Yeah, like odds are not in their favor, but is it possible? Maybe.
Yes,
right.
It's not happening.
Okay, we'll move on. Edriss, what's your second one?
Okay, so my second one. It's funny, actually. One of mine said, "Can Chelsea overcome a 3-0 defeat to the greatest team in Europe?" No, but so. Can City win a trophy this year? So they already screwed up with the Premier League by not competing with Liverpool when they clearly had the talent to do it. They then lose to Arsenal in the semifinals of the FA Cup, which is really embarrassing. And so the only thing left now with this star-studded team that essentially...
For the listeners, Jose is a Arsenal fan, so he had a nice little chuckle on that one.
I mean, City has essentially 2 starting 11s that could each be its own Premier League team. That's how good this team is. And they've already messed up the 2 domestic ones. And so this is essentially their last chance to win any silverware this year. And it's not going to be easy. And so can they win a trophy this season? I think no. But I think that's something to definitely watch for because they're completely focused and this is all that they care about. I mean, or else they're coming empty-handed in a pretty strong year.
I think it's going to be tough for them because I also feel like the Champions League is probably closer than it's been before. Like normally you have like 2 very good teams and everyone else is just kind of in their way, you know, like kind of fillers. And you're like, we know this is going to be the final. Let's just get to it.
You wouldn't say Bayern Munich is on that level though, of like a really good team that could potentially run away with it after this round, like going from this round on.
Let me see who.
So
go ahead.
No, I think one thing that's interesting, we're like dogging and giving a bunch of crap to PSG for playing in like a shit league, but Bayern wins every year. It's not like they have a lot of competition in Bundesliga either. They kind of have maybe like Leipzig and Dortmund, but realistically, it's the same situation for them too. So you can make the same argument that they don't have competition.
But they always do well in Champions League. It feels like almost every other year they're in the semifinals. You know, so there is a big difference. Like they actually perform when they need to.
No, so last year they got knocked out in the round of 16 to Liverpool.
That's early.
I said every other year.
No, but just saying that. I mean, it's kind of the same argument, and they've also now it's going to be about a month since they played their last game, maybe a little more. So they could be shaking off some rust. I mean, they won the league. They've been at home chilling. They probably are at a beach in Germany somewhere, maybe France, not Germany.
But they've been playing for months longer than everybody else.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, it's still the same kind of argument that you come off shaking off rust after a while. It's going to take a little to get used to because you have to remember the quarters and the semis are 1-game series. It's not a home and away leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little more do or die.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Bayern is a favorite. I'm looking at the draw will come up for the semis and the quarters, I guess. So they would play the winner of Barcelona-Napoli. I'm already penciling them in as a winner because it's 3-0 against Chelsea. Like, there's no shot. But yeah, I mean, they have a pretty.
You watch, my boy's gonna come in hot.
They have a pretty straight line to the final, but we could have another Ajax moment.
Yeah. Back to the City point. I agree with you. I mean, but it's really. I mean, you kind of laid it out. You didn't necessarily say it, Edriss, but you kind of laid it out with City. Like they're just running out of time. It's really that simple. So like, they're just running out of time, and they're not gonna have a chance to win one this year.
And if they don't win any silverware, do you guys think Pep stays? Because he hasn't re-signed with the team yet, has he? That was like another thing that was going on.
I think they'd be stupid to let him go, but I don't know.
He might not want to stay though.
Where would he go?
Like,
where would he want to go?
He's done it before. Like he did it at Barcelona, where he just take like a break, like he just didn't coach for a year.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like those coaches just keep bouncing around just so they can keep collecting silverware in different leagues without ever being labeled as, oh, you didn't do anything for 3 years in a row.
Yeah. All right, Jose, your last one.
All right, so I actually just came up with this one.
Okay.
And I know I said
off the top
Barcelona.
Of your head?
Yeah.
Nice.
I know Barcelona. I said Barcelona would maybe not cruise, but they would beat Napoli. But I think that Napoli has actually a really good chance of doing well in the Champions League and progressing past Barcelona because of their defense. I think Koulibaly is one of the great defenders right now, and he's paired up with Costas Manolas, the Spanish guy, who was in Roma the year that they upset Barcelona. What is it, like 4-4 or something like that?
And they went to the semis or whatever and lost to, was it Real or something like that?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm taking Napoli as my dark horse to possibly beat Barcelona in advance and play Bayern.
All right.
I like that. I mean, Napoli
they
just beat Juventus in the Coppa Italia final and won a trophy there. So they're pretty sound, especially defensively. I could see it.
Oh, sorry. Did you have more to say, Jose?
No.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
Edriss, your last one.
Okay, my last one is a quick one, but is the PSG versus Atalanta game going to be the highest scoring game of the tournament? And I think possibly.
Yes.
I think these teams are just going to go at each other, and it's going to be a shootout, and I hope. And I think it's going to be good.
When you told me all the Atalanta stats, I circled that on my ESPN. I was like, I'm definitely watching that one. And it's on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah. And
It is.
Atalanta, one of their best players, Papu Gomez, the Argentinian. After you watch him, and he's probably going to score a goal, you have to go and YouTube the Papu Gomez dance. He has a whole dance and a song that was the craze in Italy for like a whole summer.
Papu
Just 'cause he was
Gomez?
killing it.
Papu Gomez.
Yeah, Papu Gomez. And it's called Baila Como El Papu. Dance like El Papu. And it was a whole crazy fad out there for 3 months. So you got to check it out.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to watch this thing. So.
You have to check it out. It's catchy.
Oh, I just wrote it down because I'm watching it.
All right. Here's my last one. Sorry, we got to wrap it up. We're running short on time. There's not really. You guys aren't going to want to talk about it anyway. Are we sure anyone's going to really want to watch the Champions League since Liverpool's not in anymore? Because obviously they're like clearly the most popular team in the world. They're clearly it was a fluke last round. Everybody knows that they're really the best team in the world. They should have went back to back and gotten been the double champ this year. So like, are we sure anybody's going to really watch the Champions League? I don't know. I really don't think so.
I think by popular you meant overrated because they should have won all these trophies this year. And
I don't know. I
only
mean,
won
hey,
one.
it's
I don't
definitely
know.
popular. LeBron James owns part of the team, so that has says something about them.
Definitely helps. I think that helped get them a lot of like American viewership though.
100%.
So they lost 4-2 on aggregate to Atletico Madrid. It's pretty bad.
I know. All right. I know.
Atletico's not bad though.
No, but
Like,
no,
the
but
Spanish league
the
isn't
worst
the
the worst
greatest,
part
but-
about it was they gave up 2 goals. They had it won, and they gave up 2 goals in the last. I think it was 15 minutes or something like that. And I'm just sitting there watching, like, what the fuck just happened? And they were up 2-0. They were up 2-0 for like 90% of the game. Like, I remember they scored early in the first half. It fucking drove me absolutely crazy. All right. Well, boys, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Yeah. Those are things to look for. So if you like European soccer, you just heard it from some of the most knowledgeable I know. Stay tuned, and we'll move on to the next sport. Bye.
Peace.
All right. I saved the best for last, everybody. Best sport. Baseball. We're talking baseball. Julio Reynoso is here, of course. What's up, Julio? Welcome back.
Mary! Glad to be back.
Feels like we're talking like every day.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably because big announcement that me and Julio want to say. We just launched a new Oakland A's podcast. It's called the Town Tailgate Podcast. It is available on Spotify currently, and it will be available on other platforms in the coming weeks. Please subscribe to it. If you're an Oakland A's fan, you're going to love it. We have a lot of unique segments. Just go through a little bit of MLB talk. We go through A's news, and then get a little creative, and then kind of talk about the upcoming weeks. Typical team focused podcast, but with a little bit of the fan side flavor to it. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. Anything you want to say about it, Julio?
I'm super excited for this. Honestly, we brought it up in the opening, but this has kind of been something we've been shooting the shit about doing for, honestly, the last couple of years, and all it took was a global pandemic for us to really step up and do it. But this is going to be a great spot. I know we have a ton of Oakland A's experts across the media, have their own podcast, but it was nice to create our own thing that is from the fan perspective. So kind of seeing what we see out there. But yeah, definitely like and subscribe. Definitely like and subscribe. This is the YouTube channel. Check it out. We'll be doing new episodes every Thursday. Excited for the new season, which is what we're here to talk about, right?
We are. So we're going to talk baseball on the Magic Hour. All right. So you know the drill. Audience knows the drill. We've already been 2 sports deep. Or 3. I can't remember.
A lot of sports coming back.
All right. So 3 things exactly. 3 things to look forward to for the upcoming MLB restart, which starts tomorrow, actually, or 2 days. Sorry.
Tomorrow? No, tomorrow.
The 23rd.
Thursday.
Oh, 23rd. Oh shit. Tomorrow is Thursday. Which will be today for the listeners. You go ahead and start.
So 3 things to keep a lookout for. My first thing.
Yeah, we'll go back and forth. So your first one.
My first one is, because of how short the season is going to be, I'd imagine we're going to see a really short leash on teams' closers. That I wouldn't be shocked if you see somebody blow 2 games in a row. Instantly, they're out of their job, and you're going to be a setup pitcher. So think about somebody like Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen for the Dodgers, recovering from COVID-19. And during the offseason, the Dodgers signed Blake Trinan from Oakland Great as their new setup man. And Jansen was a little rocky last year. He was still good, but he wasn't his usual self. If for you see for 2-3 games in a row, he doesn't have it, he's not going to be the team's closer. And that's going to be a pattern across all of baseball, where now you're not, when you think about kind of the power teams in the league, they don't just have a great closer, they have a great bullpen overall. If we see Aroldis Chapman is not living up to, again, I'm kind of bringing up the scenarios of COVID, but if he's not living up to his expectations of being a closer, Adam Ottavino is about to take over. If Roberto Osuna is not going to be living up to his expectations in Houston, Ryan Presley, who was a playoff hero last year for the Astros, easily slide right in. And I think it's going to be a continued thing.
I'm a little bit bringing up that. Now that you say it, I'm a little bit worried about our closer then, because he carried a heavy load last season, doing a lot of 2-inning closes, or closing out a lot of 2-inning games, and you could argue that was maybe the downfall of Blake Trinan, because he just was overworked a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's a good. Well, we have that benefit because we didn't think about this at the beginning of the 2019 season. We didn't think Liam Hendricks was going to do anything special, but he kind of stepped up to the plate and he had a kind of a historic season. So what kind of stops from the A's from having Lou Trevino coming back to what he was in 2018, or JP Wendelken, or anybody, or Joaquim Soria kind of gets some grace back from where he was. But there's a lot of potential. You look at somewhere like San Diego with Kirby Yates, who had a historic year as a closer. And you have Emilio Pagan, right? The wings. If that falls, you can switch right over. The biggest reason, again, just the biggest reason why we don't really have any wiggle room with this season. Where we kind of did the math of this. If you blow 1 game, it's the equivalent of 3 games.
Yeah.
So it's really do or die. If you're not doing your job 2-3 days in a row, then you're out of it.
Yeah, we can't afford to at least for the teams in contention, you can't afford to risk it. Okay, I like that one. I like it. Okay, so my first one is going to be something that I've been preaching all offseason, so it's going to be not much of a surprise, but I just have to say it. The Astros are going to suck. I'm telling you right now. They are not going to be as good as what they're projected to do. They're not going to be like the second to third best team in Major League Baseball. Do me a favor. If you disagree with me, go right now and Google Houston Astros home and away splits. It is overwhelming. And you're going to think it's probably some of the shitty players. Yeah, Brian McCann's on there. Shitty player. Pretty bad home and away splits. And then you look down the list. Second on the list, Jose Altuve. Crazy home and away splits. Carlos Correa. Crazy home and away splits. George Springer. Pretty bad. Alex Bregman, not as bad, but it's just it's brutal, dude. And without cheating, these guys are not going to be as good. They're not going to be as stacked. Like our buddy Chris Martinez, he picked Alex Bregman with his first pick in our draft this year. And me and Edriss just shitted all over him. Like, dude, you're so stupid. Like, did you not see the stats against the Spygate or
Spygate.
whatever it's called. Yeah. Sorry,
the
that's
trash
the
gate,
Patriots.
the garbage gate. I don't know what they're gonna call
Yeah,
it.
the entire Astros cheating scandal, like it's just too hard to ignore, man. It's just too hard to ignore. And I'm telling you right now, they're not gonna be good.
My big, okay, so I think the offense will still be good, because at the end of the day,
What are you talking about?
No, look, okay, what I think the Astros will not be as good in, and what's been a key part for them is I don't think their rotation's going to hold up. Now, you can make the argument that the benefit of a shorter season does help them with older guys like Verlander and Greinke, but there is going to be a ton of question marks. I think Lance McCullers Jr. actually is going to be kind of a wild card in terms of performance this year. I think he could actually be pretty good. But after that,
he's coming off a tough injury.
Yeah, he was a great for Tommy John, but from the starts he had in spring training as well as summer camp, he looks like he's going to have it. But after that, it's a lot of question marks. And if
a lot of old guys.
And I think kind of the thing that nobody's really talking about at all is Dusty Baker as their manager, who great manager. We know how he's one of the better managers of the last 20 years, but we know historically he does not manage his rotations well. He usually overloads guys and keeps guys way too long in, if you look at Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. But as a baseball fan in general, not just an A's fan, I hope you're right.
I do too. All right, what's your second one, Julio?
My second one is kind of already coming true a little bit, which is we're going to see a lot of nagging injuries. We're going to see a lot of calf strains. We're going to see a lot of soreness, guys into 10-day IL because of it. Yes, we've seen cases of what was like the secret baseball game that Max Scherzer held in Florida, or you hear guys like Marcus Semien and Frankie Montas working on their own with personal trainers and stuff. Yes, that is great stuff to still stay in shape, but it is not going to be the same as game shape. Jacob deGrom last week was pulled out from a game because he had some back soreness, a back strain. And that's just something we're going to have to deal with. It's going to be a natural part of the season where we're going to see pretty consistently, or not consistently, but I think it'd be kind of a common thing where guys are going to have to be skipping out starts, or we're going to have to start seeing everyday players take a couple of days off in a week because of, they pulled a calf or they had a sore knee, because it's going to take some time for guys to really get back into true playing shape. There's a difference between just staying in shape and getting in those reps where you can play a full, we're not playing a full 162, but a full 60, I guess. So be ready. Be ready for some frustration.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, that was going to be something I was considering for my list, actually, because it's just the long off time and the heat on top of it and coming right back into it in the heart of summer, and that's just a lot of wear and tear on your body that it's just not used to yet. And especially when you're in the middle of a game, your adrenaline's pumping, you're not thinking about the way you're moving your body and your muscles and stuff like that, so it just moves a little bit quicker and a little bit differently, and without like kind of training your body to handle that, it's just, I agree. All right, so my second one, it relates to kind of the end of what you were saying on my last one, with Dusty Baker and him being known to overwork his pitchers. I think in the second half we're going to see no pitch counts. I think that it's going to, like, these starters, if they're playing well, they're going to go deep in innings because it's only a 60-game season. So managers are going to be like, okay, they're kind of in full, like, mid-season form now. They can handle the wear and tear because we only have 30 more games to play. So, like, let's get everything we can out of them. Especially old-school managers. I really think that that's going to be a thing. And I wonder how much analytical managers like Bob Melvin and Dave Roberts are going to put analytics into their game strategy this year because with a shortened season, I feel like you can just kind of throw analytics out the door because they're not relative anymore. So I'm interested to see if that's going to be a factor or not.
That's going to be, and it kind of you mentioned it, but it's like that's going to be a huge benefit for older pitchers when we see guys like Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander and Clayton Kershaw being older for being 32, or like Charlie Morton, where we like I don't think they're going to have any issues going 7 innings deep, and like any start they're going to be out there.
Yeah.
And what's going to be even more,
especially guys like Scherzer, Verlander, and those guys, because they're used to that. They love going deep into games.
And it's going to be super beneficial by the time we get to October, where if you got a 2-0 lead and Verlander is going into the 7th inning, you're not going to have any hesitation about not putting him back out there. So yeah, that's a good one.
Just hopefully you don't have a Grady Little situation and it completely blows up in your face. Boy. Oh God. All right, Julio, your last and final thing to look for.
So my third thing that I want to finish up on, I think, kind of going piggyback off the pitcher talk, I think we're going to see some really crazy pitching stats this year. Like I'm saying, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a full-on... Yeah, like I wouldn't be shocked if we see
sub 1.
Jacob deGrom go 9-0 with a sub 1 ERA.
Here's the thing, though, man. This is something that we need to consider. National League pitchers are going to have to pitch to DHs now. They don't get an automatic out every single time you go through the lineup. So, like, I'm fearful that we're going to see NL pitchers' ERAs go up. Like, I think maybe we'll realize that, and like they're going to have to do it every single day. Maybe we'll realize that Jacob deGrom isn't as good as pitchers like Verlander and Cole, because having to face a guy 4 times instead of facing a pitcher 2 times a game is a dramatically different like scenario. And I don't know. I mean, it's one of the little tweaks of the new rules, the universal DH, that we definitely need to consider, and I don't think we thought.
That reminds me real quick
of
a tweet I saw earlier from Boog Scamby, our dude over at ESPN. NL or pitchers went 1 for 60 in the postseason last year. 1 for 60.
1 for 60?
So,
Jesus.
That's actually, you bring up a really good point there. So that is a .0617 batting average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not a lot of like bunts every single time and shit. Like it's just like when you have the pitcher spot coming up, like as the pitcher facing him, like, okay, cool, I get an automatic out here. You're not gonna have that this time. It's just different. All right. So for my final one, it's kind of a hot take. I think we could see the Yankees win 50 games and have like the highest winning percentage of all time. The Yankees are so fucking good. I looked at their lineup today, and it's just unbelievable how stacked they are. And in a season of only 60 games, like, if any team's going to do it, it's going to be them or the Dodgers, but I would put more money on the Yankees. Like, they could win fucking 50 games, and it would be just absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's not...
It's not that out of the realms of reality.
I mean,
it's a hot take, but it's not that.
We know what their offense is going to do, and their bullpen is the best in baseball. If not the best, is the best. I think there is a lot of questions on the back half of their rotation.
It's a lot of older guys, but they're still solid guys, and guys who have had successful careers and successful recent careers in their later years. So I mean, we'll see. I think there's definitely something there. Cool, man. I think we'll end it at that. Thanks for coming on again. We did 2 podcasts this week. Well, our new one, again, please go subscribe. If you're an A's fan, you'll love it. The Town Tailgate Podcast. It's on Spotify. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little preview of the seasons of the new the sports that are picking back up and yeah. And again, I'm changing the podcast release day every week. It's going to come out on Tuesdays now, not Thursdays anymore, so keep a lookout for that. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. Peace.